California. We are at 9 pips for
What
California.
is Brayron doing in Missouri?
I don't understand putting that much money into Louisiana.
North Carolina going into the Republican
This is one of the
Conference.
most stunning results in 270 Live history.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, the Big Easy. My name is Steven, and I am joined here with Ryan. We are here for an exciting second-round matchup at the 270 Live tournament between number 1 seed Keegan and number 4 seed Riley. We saw Keegan kind of stumble and maybe not live up to the initial playoff expectations in that first-round matchup against Abigail, but we'll see if he can get back on track with a really solid opponent in Riley. We're looking at Riley, who's, straight off that matchup against Jack Allen. He is going to be playing Bernie Sanders. It's a little bit different from what we've potentially seen with Keegan having to play a Republican, because you know that Keegan really enjoys playing a Democrat, and last game notwithstanding, going into New York. So we'll see how he adjusts having to do that.
Yeah, I have heard a few rumors. Some people have talked about him potentially going with Ted Cruz. Other people have mentioned Donald Trump. And here we have Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders. The good thing, Steven, that I'm really looking forward to in this winner's bracket is we have some more experienced players playing today. We have people who maybe have, taken off a little bit of the nervousness that was expressed in the first round, and I think we can really get some quality play here.
Absolutely, and everyone at this point has had to win a game, so that's just something that looking forward, you're not going to have some of those rookie mistakes that you had in those first rounds, myself included, of players that just seem like the lights are too bright. We have a pretty standard opening so far. This is exactly out of the Keegan Fong playbook, as turn 2 is super quick. But Old South money for Trump, and looking at that town and gown to maybe parlay into high tech for Bernie.
I do have worries here, though, for Bernie. At the start, Keegan's coming off with a very efficient start, getting Old South within 2 turns. But you cannot get town and gown, I don't believe, by getting Massachusetts, New York, and New Hampshire. You have to take Utah instead of New Hampshire in order to secure town and gown. Unless my math is wrong here, what's going to happen here is Riley's going to secure New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and he's going to be left with no state group bonuses. And you can already see Keegan's positioning himself for African American. He's positioning himself for swing state. Not a good start for Riley.
As both of the political outsiders putting into D.C. early, you're wondering if some of their statements that they made on the campaign about being antagonistic to the existing structure of Washington has really just been talk, and they're not putting their money where their mouth is, because they are going early into the District of Columbia, as Bernie does take town and gown by turn 3.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Trump and Bernie, both for a Democrat and Republican, do have unique strengths amongst the manufacturing base and the Rust Belt. It will be interesting to see who can win over that area from Minnesota to Pennsylvania down into Tennessee, who can win that core element that really tends to be a battleground in this game. It looks like Riley has secured town and gown, so there are about even money here, but again, it took him probably a turn too long to get in that position.
As they both put into Arizona. Arizona's be a big state for both of them and what they want to do, and you have to think that both of them are thinking about that, putting money early and often into that state.
Yeah, Keegan's very good at the Old South starting point. You can tell that we're only going into turn 5, and he already has 148 electoral votes. Riley is going to have to go on the attack so that Keegan doesn't feel too comfortable here.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to go down to our sideline reporter on the Keegan side, the previously unmentioned twin brother of myself, actually, Michael. Michael, what are we hearing from the Keegan camp? Yeah, well, thank you, Steven. Keegan is coming into this game really angry after that first-round matchup. We have confirmed reports that he wasn't even playing with a mouse, which is really atypical for him. We think that he almost was looking really past that matchup with his old student, and looking forward to this next matchup. So, coming off of that really first round escape, you have to wonder if after that he's going to come out angry and attempt to make a statement here against Riley. Yeah, well, thank you, Michael. We really wonder what Keegan is going to do with an entire week of preparation after that really, I don't want to say embarrassing win, because a win's a win, but it was definitely not what he wanted to see in that first round.
Yeah, we do see here Keegan starting to take control. He's taken African American and swing states, and he's really controlling the current battlegrounds, right? Michigan, he just took from Riley. He's secured Virginia. Does Keegan have any pips right now in Pennsylvania? He does not. What states do they currently share right now, Stephen?
In terms of shared states, you're really looking at
Arizona.
Michigan, Arizona, and Utah, and the District of Columbia.
Arizona as well. I mean, Riley is just not winning any of these head-to-head battles, and they both go into California.
You can tell that Keegan is feeling really confident to this early be putting into California. You have to think that despite the current closeness of the electoral votes, that this is shaping up to really start turning into a landslide, because Riley seems a turn or two slow on everything, and Keegan is just playing with pinpoint precision on what he needs to secure those state groups. He's already got a significant money advantage. If Riley is not able to keep California and hold it, and maybe put into some of those other state groups and take them away from Keegan, I mean, this could be a 350 plus electoral blowout.
I do agree with your statement. Generally, I think it's been a very good start for Keegan, but I actually think that California looks very important. We've seen previous games where Keegan, instead of going for the traditional Republican state of Texas, he'll try to go into California to block the Democrat. And I think he was feeling so confident that he was going to jump into California before Riley could. But Riley got in on the same turn and took an advantage. So I actually think that that's a wasted $200,000 for Keegan. And in addition, Riley was able to put in 2 in only 1 turn, giving him the chance now to get California, probably high tech, and going to put him in a strong position to get other swings, other state groups as well.
That's very true. Not necessarily the outcome, looking at being really good for Keegan, but just kind of the mindset to do that as Riley does take high tech. Just the mindset to go into California, you have to wonder if he's really trying to use a kill blow early on, because Riley's whole strategy hinges on taking that high tech, like we said, and trying to get some of that Latino or agricultural votes.
Well, high tech's going to give him a nice. He's getting $125,000 per turn right out of high tech. It's going to help him defend California, defend Pennsylvania, go into Maryland perhaps, add a couple electoral votes by grabbing Connecticut. I do think he came out to a very strong lead. I do think Riley has stabilized things. And you could see that they're starting to go into each other's states. And so there's going to be a battle. Who can defend their states more? Who can go on the attack? And what a move by Riley going into Texas, Steven.
Yeah, conflicting in Texas, that's going to be $200,000 for both, but with a really even money advantage, you don't feel like either of them really comes out on top of that play. It's just kind of allowing them both to stay in it and kind of signals where they're both looking to spend their money from this point going forward.
Do disagree a little bit, though. I really think that Keegan has controlled much of the map, but the moves in California and Texas, what Riley did there is delay another turn that Keegan can use Texas to go into oil and gas, that he can use to win manufacturing. I think that move by Riley is going to stave off a lot of money for Keegan going forward. And perhaps now, with Keegan probably going to be needing at least 3 turns to take Texas, I think Riley could take advantage of this and start going into Keegan's territories and giving him options. Does he protect North Carolina, or does he continue to go into Texas?
As you see, Riley is starting to pick up some of those manufacturing states. He takes Indiana, he takes Iowa, he takes Kansas. There's just a lot of those states in the middle of the country that he's starting to take to pick up some of those electoral votes. So it's really tightening in terms of the numbers, but really this is that part of the game that's going to make or break both campaigns.
I do think questions have to be raised. The moment that you can get Keegan in here is that he has to put $200,000 into Texas every single turn, which means that his resources right now are very stretched. I think instead of going into a state like Ohio that doesn't really give you that much, this is the time that you go on the attack. North Carolina and Maryland right now are exposed. I do believe that he could go maybe into Illinois, he can go into Wisconsin, he can go into Georgia, he can go into Florida. This is the moment to attack, and he only put a little bit into Maryland, right? He put 2 or 3 pips in, but that's just, he probably had enough money there to go a little further than that.
Yeah, so from a purely numbers standpoint, it doesn't look like Bernie's going to be able to completely secure North Carolina on this turn, although it's very close. I don't know exactly where all that money is tied up, but there is a lot of opportunity, at least with Maryland and a couple others, to put a real dent in some of Keegan's advantage in those African-American, in those Old South states, as Keegan does take Iowa. Ooh, and the exact opposite of what you wanted if you were Riley. Having that opportunity with Keegan having to put to Texas to steal some of those states, and Keegan just going out and securing them. You do see him take the states of Oklahoma and Oregon, which, you know, any electoral vote is nice, but Keegan has already hit the 270 threshold, so at this point, just knowing Keegan, he may be trying to push ballot just to force Riley to put into some of those states that he doesn't necessarily want to put into.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. I mean, Riley, when Keegan is focused on Texas or having to defend things, instead of going to Texas, this is the moment you have to be aggressive, and he's putting one here, one there, going all in on some of these smaller 3 electoral vote states. He has to use all his resources to take a state like North Carolina. It's going to give you multiple state groups, right? Agriculture, manufacturing, a threatened Old South, helping African American. These little fights where he's spending $100,000 in a small state is just not going to get him to where he needs to be.
Absolutely. Well, you see there that he did put into Illinois, and a state like that would be really big into kind of flipping it and kind of turning the tide, although Keegan does take Iowa. This is turning into a really tight matchup with Trump falling below the 270 threshold, but he does put in Ohio, so there's just a lot of opportunity for things to really change in a given turn with all of the big states that each of them have pips in for the other.
Yeah, you know, I think this game is a story of 2 different moves here. On one hand, I think in California and Texas, Riley put on a masterclass. The fact that he has 3 in California and Keegan only has 1 still in Texas is incredible for Riley. It was an incredible move for him to block Keegan in Texas. Everywhere else, though, I think has been a little bit disappointing. The fact that he's been in so many Keegan states and he hasn't been able to steal a single one of them. He has to take all his resources and dedicate it to one of these states this turn.
That's very true, although one thing that does affect his ability to do that is the fact that after everything, Keegan has not put into Texas. You know, you talked about how Keegan was going to be spending $200,000 a turn in order to take Texas to get some of those state groups, and that was going to be Riley's opportunity. Keegan has continued to defend those states, so I think Keegan recognizes the importance of Riley pushing right now, and he's trying to defend himself across all these other states because he knows that he has the 40 votes in Texas.
If you got to look, though, in terms of Wisconsin, Illinois, North Carolina, Keegan now has been putting in 1 or 2 pips per turn in each of those states, and has been able to build up a pretty chunky lead in all 3 that Riley at this point probably can't overcome. If he had taken all his money and put it into one of those 3, he would have been able to take a very, very, very important building block that he's going to need to take another state group. But to his credit, he's kind of done it in an inefficient way, but he has taken Latino without Illinois or Texas or Florida, which is a very difficult feat, but he has done it. But the problem with that now, he has to defend Colorado, New Mexico, and New Jersey, which Keegan's probably going to be trying to take one of these turns.
Oh, wow. As he takes Illinois from Keegan, that's going to be big. You know, with the flip of Iowa, Riley has actually taken the electoral lead against Keegan. You have to wonder if, as this turn comes to a close, if there's more money that's going to be put in Texas. As Keegan does put a pip in Texas. And he takes Washington. This is starting to turn really bad. You know, that's exactly what you were talking about, Ryan. That's what Riley needed to do to win, to steal some of those states and to go all in a few of them, and he took 3 on that turn.
Look, it was a bit frustrating to watch for a while, but you can see exactly what I was talking about. Look at the stronger position he is now with the state groups. Maybe click on agriculture real quick. He's in a stronger position in terms of agriculture, and that he took Illinois. See, it's way more important to take one state that gives 20 electoral votes in all these state groups than it is to take 3 or 4 that are going to equal 20. And it's very good that he's been able to secure Illinois.
You have to wonder, though, with some of these, I mean, he can't win agriculture. You look at all of that, his only chance to take agriculture is to take Wisconsin. So I think what he's just trying to do is to maintain what he has in terms of state groups and just continue to push some of those other states that Keegan wins. Because Keegan does manage to secure Texas, and maybe with a bit of an extra money advantage, he's going to be able to start doing more. But Bernie Sanders taking oil and gas, this, while Trump takes agriculture and manufacturing base, this is starting to turn a little rough with ballot on this turn for Keegan.
Wow. Very big.
You got to wonder if the math is even there.
Well, I think the math is, I mean, it's going to be tough in regards to the amount of money, but he is in a lot of Riley states.
Is he going to go for California? You saw that Keegan only put 300,000 in the last turn. You have to wonder if he's saving up some of those.
Out here. I mean, he's going to lose 100,000 swing state because Cali isn't a swing state. He's going to lose money because Cali is not African American. It's not part of the Old South. So he can maybe be able to put 3 pips maximum, maybe 4. To do the math here, I think he might be able to put 3 in. He might be able to put 600 into Cali. I doubt Keegan will do that, but that is a possibility. I mean, look how many states though Riley has such a minor lead in. And honestly, I might be looking at New Jersey. I might look at Ohio that have kind of a significant electoral college presence. That might be the path. That would equal 31. That would get Bernie Sanders down to 269.
I'm looking at Pennsylvania and Ohio. Those are states that Trump had some money to be able to play around with, but he does lose. He takes Idaho, which brings it to 299. He doesn't even put any money into Indiana. You have to wonder if maybe there was
saving for something later on here. Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey coming up.
It's got to be, because he doesn't even put into Missouri. Wow.
No, New Jersey. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. There's New Jersey. My bad.
He does take Ohio. We're getting ever so close, but he doesn't even put in Pennsylvania. I just don't think the map is there for Keegan.
Wyoming?
That's it.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And Keegan.
Is Keegan washed? I have to ask the question. Two straight. For a man who usually annihilates his opponents, 2 straight close matches is crazy.
And that is a final for the Caesars Superdome. Wow. Riley, Bernie Sanders, 275 votes. Keegan, 263. Back-to-back weak showings. Almost the exact mirror map from the previous matchup. And, this time being on the losing end. What was he doing?
I mean, it's a shocking display. The fact that you add on to it, I think he's traditionally been stronger as a Republican, starting with the Old South strategy. The fact that I think Riley didn't even play a perfect game and he lost. I really do think, going back to it, Steven, I think it was the Keegan was trying to get a little too cute. He tried to block Riley in California instead of focusing on getting Texas. And what ended up happening is Riley got California, and Keegan ended up getting blocked in Texas the next turn by Riley. A stunning turn of events here, and what a shocking upset. And Riley's going to be going on to round 3.
That is absolutely right. Keegan, just a really tough showing after that, and you have to wonder if these years of being on the top have really took a toll on him, because he just looks slow. He looks weary out there. He's not putting up the same times and the same reps that we're used to seeing him out of one of the all-time greats. We're gonna go down to our sideline reporter Michael. He is with the loser of this matchup, Keegan. Michael. Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Keegan, what happened there? We saw that you were up and it looked like you were really feeling good. You put into California and it all kind of collapsed. Where do you think you lost this matchup?
Hey, Mike, good to see you. Yeah, like you said, that California play really kind of screwed me over. Just some mental mistakes. I'm gonna call it fatigue or what, but this wasn't our day. Kudos to Riley. I hope he goes on to beat whoever he plays in the next round pretty handily. I'm rooting for him, but if that's the case, then I'm sure I'll see Riley in the finals.
Absolutely. Keegan, we're getting this question. What was your play and your thought behind not putting into Texas after you put that one pip in?
So I noticed Riley was ballot rushing, and I made the calculation that I needed to compete with him in that ballot race rushing rather than take the 400,000 investment to finish out Texas. Ultimately, it was ultimately I lost this match. I think I still stand by that decision. Had I spent 2 turns and more into Texas, I don't feel like the electoral math would have been favorable in my spot. But yeah, just some mistakes down the end on that end stretch, but it is what it is.
Well, thank you, Keegan. Well, we'll be pulling for you in your next round matchup. We're gonna put it back to Steven in the booth. Yeah, thank you, Michael. We are here with our other sideline reporter, James. He's with the winner of this matchup, Riley. James.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, I'm down here. I'm down here, Steven. Thanks. Yeah, it's James. James down here with Riley. Riley, I mean, I'm speechless. I'm sure you probably are. I mean, what emotions are going through your head right now?
I mean, I'm feeling really excited about this. Keegan's a super strong player, and I've had some really tough games against him. So to come in here as the underdog, having some people doubt me, in the booth after a closest match with Jack, to come out of here with a victory, and to move on to the next round, I feel really good.
Yeah, I mean, what was going through your mind when you went into Texas? You had secured California. There were some fights going on in other states. I mean, what really was going through your mind? What kind of strategy were you taking going into Texas and blocking Keegan?
I mean, frankly, for me, it was an experiment. Honestly, I saw a lot of money being kind of put in the traditional states for the both of us. I had a little extra money, especially that I'd had, high tech, the town and gown. I frankly just wanted to see, if I would catch him off guard and be able to have 3 of the big 4, early on, or at least delay him from getting that, which, I think worked out in my favor.
All right, I appreciate it, Riley. Riley will be playing the winner of Ryan, my twin brother, and as well as going potentially also Brayrand, even though Brayrand is pretty heavy underdog. Are you going to be guaranteeing a win in that next matchup in MSG under the bright lights?
It's always a joy to be in New York. I think there's no guarantees in life besides death, taxes, and me winning this next game. So bring it on.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to go back to the booth, but love the confidence coming from Riley tonight.
All right. Thank you, James. Have a good one.
Well, that is
Steven?
great to hear, James. What a phenomenal matchup. I mean, this tournament has definitely lived up to the billing that we had coming into it. It's just been knockout blow and knockout blow after each other, and we're just really excited for this next round. I don't know what you think, Ryan.
I'll be honest. I'm at a loss for words. That's all I can really say right now. I'm at a loss for words.
Wow. What a great matchup. Well, Keegan will be playing he will have a chance to play again in Miami. You know, if you're Keegan, you just got to get back into the team, into the film room and kind of study and figure out what went wrong, because this has been back-to-back matchups that really have kind of gone away from his identity. You saw with the play into California early on in his previous matchup. But we'll see what happens. Well, coming up after this, it is season 38 premiere of The Simpsons, coming up at 7 p.m. After all that, Death, Taxes, and The Simpsons at 7 p.m. My name is Steven. I am here with Ryan. As always, this has been 270 Live, and good night, Omaha.